the conversation around resuming oil exploration in Ogoni has been brewing for some time now, with government showing glimpses of commitments. Recently, President Tinubu approved a university in Ogoni, but earlier, youths from Ogoni land in Rivers State have expressed willingness to accept the proposed resumption of oil production in their area, provided all stakeholders are included in the negotiation process, and the template of which they have listed their needs are adhered to strictly by the federal government. However, oil-bearing communities and some factions have threatened mass action over alleged exclusion from ongoing negotiations with the federal government on the resumption of oil production in the area. We want to understand the politics in the whole affair and the paths to toe to progress that would bring all the Ogoni people on board and the federal government. And to help make sense of this conversation, we have in the studio this afternoon the National President, Indigenous Youth Council of Ogoni People. He is also himself Assistant National Youth Leader, PANDEF. Comrade Matthew Dighi joins us live on Niger Delta Today. Comrade Dighi, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the program, comrade. Well, I understand that once there is a comrade in a name, it means you are very vocal about issues. And getting to talk about issue of Ogoni land cleanup has been on for years. It is not just of recent times, it has been a discussion for years. But we need to understand firsthand, what is it like in Ogoni land?
Yeah, thank you very much. At this point, let me just go straight to what our very father set up in Ogoni. In 1990, the Ogoni people come together and form a movement called the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People. It's as a result of oppression, intimidation, and environmental degradation in that land for the past 30 years at that time. So, when the movement started in 1990, we don't just start the movement without a demand. And the demand was the Ogoni Bill of Rights. This Ogoni Bill of Rights was what the Ogoni people want, if you ask them in their movement. And they presented this Bill of Rights to the federal government and the people of Nigeria. And the Bill of Rights stated it clearly that Ogoni should be granted political autonomy within the context of Nigeria as a separate distinct group. It said whatsoever name should be called on that political autonomy, provided that political autonomy guaranteed the Ogoni people a fair proportion of their resources. When you talk about a fair proportion, I talk about a quota that we give it to the people to develop their land. And secondly, we come to the environmental issue as an environmental degradation, which Ogoni people cried to the international community. As a result, in 2011, the United Nations cleanup or United Report came to Ogoni to conduct environmental impact assessment study called the Ogoni Cleanup today. And this report was given 30 years to restore Ogoni land, of degradation and that. And there is a name given to that commission called Ogoni Environmental Restoration Authority. But because of the politics of the Nigerian government, they turned it to call IPRED. The name given to that exercise was Ogoni Environmental Restoration Authority, to restore the damages and the degradation of that land.
So the name has an impact on whatever
it has an impact
project is aimed at achieving?
Yeah. When you talk about Ogoni Restoration Authority, you are talking about the people, by the people, and for the people. Their land have been destroyed. So when you talk about restoring back again for 30 years, you know what it means. Now, at this point, Ogoni was like a case study on environmental issue in the Niger Delta, not only Ogoni, but also in Nigeria and Africa, because the other African countries also suffer environmental degradation all this year when Ken started the campaign for environmental degradation. So it's a very sensitive issue. It's an issue we also take it for granted. It's an issue we just because life has already gone for that thing. Now, after those years have gone, in 2011, 4th August, the report was presented to federal government and they started their manipulation of oil, this thing and that and that. Up till now, there is no hospital, no light, nothing to write home about, no compensation. What we have seen now is oil resolution.
Wow, this is, I would say, a sad thing to talk about, that there is no hospital and some other remediation plans. But then there has been some form of discussion about Ogoni Cleanup. In fact, I think in some 3 years ago, there was some monetary allocation for the cleanup of Ogoni land. Has there been any form of activity in relation to cleanup in Ogoni?
You know,
maybe in recent years.
Yeah, you know, one thing we need to put in place, we need to set what we call transparency in a system of things like this. You know, there's going to be a check and balance of this process. Whether people have been getting, because Nigeria have come to a station whereby they could not able to set up a best practice, an international best practice should be given in that place. You know, this part suffers so much of environmental degradation. So you should not just come and take it by politics or take it for granted. It's very painful. Life was gone because of this issue. 9 people was hanged because of this issue. So whenever you are coming to do something in that land, you must actually conduct what we call environmental impact assessment study. You will know the heart of the people, what really the people want. Like I said initially, the report was given to federal government on August 4th, 2011. And this report stated that there must be a Ogoni Environmental Restoration Authority as a board that controlled by the Ogoni people. And this team will also place what we call Center of Excellence should be built in Ogoni. And this Center of Excellence, I come to hear that in Hague, in Netherlands, it's a power that controls the environmental issue in the whole Europe. So when you say you should build a Center of Excellence in Ogoni land, you should not think about the Ogoni. You should be beyond thinking out of the box. Because Ogoni is a case study, as I said initially, in Africa and in Nigeria and Niger Delta. You know, that kind of a thing. So in a situation where you are running this kind of thing, the people themselves, they are not even feeling the impact of this environmental restoration you are claiming or remediation you are doing. They are not feeling the impact because hospital, light, road, because just like what Ken said in his acceptance speech in 1995, he said environment is the first right of a man. That without a safe environment, man cannot live to claim any other right, whether political or social or economic. So you should think that the environment is the first right of the people. So what really the people want to enjoy this their decade of suffering and this thing, it should be given to them.
Most definitely. And we're looking at not just the Ogoni cleanup now, but we're looking at the lives of the people. What do you think should be done by the federal government, even the state government, or even the community? What should be done to bring about remediation and possibly a solution to some of the crises that has plagued the people of Ogoni for years now?
Okay, let's make it a two-pronged question. Now, I know that you are not just the only group that is clamoring for these remediations in Ogoni land. We also understand that the movement of the survival of Ogoni people, MOSOP, has also been vocal about ensuring that the federal government and the oil companies operating in the region do what it needs to do in ensuring that the desires of the Ogoni people are met as much as possible. To what extent would you say that these clamors have generated positive reactions from the federal government? I understand that President Tinubu recently approved that a university be established in Ogoni land, which is of course related to the environment and ensuring that the pertinent issues affecting the Ogoni people are addressed.
Yeah, well, first of all, for me, as the president of the Indigenous Youth Council, I've been in the struggle for 15 years now, actively. And then I also feel the impact of my people. The University of Environment that was signed by the president, yeah, it's a good, it's a welcome development. Because I travel part of other states in Nigeria. There are several universities in that state. So it's not bad that if they're going to having the University of Environment, because we clamor for environmental issues in Nigeria, more powerful than other tribes in Nigeria, we deserve it. But the most important thing is that there are best one that will be given to the Ogoni people, as I said initially, called the Center of Excellence. This Center of Excellence is also part of environmental issues that can be settled in Ogoni land and in Niger Delta at large. So the university is not bad, as I said initially, it's also part of development. I'm not going against that. But you should not use it as a way of tricksing the Ogoni people because you already have your own agenda that you want to drill here in Ogoni land. It's absolutely not accepted. We're not going to accept that kind of magic. You know,
okay, so you feel that it is a bait, trying to draw Ogoni people to the table to have a conversation?
Yes, because it was a process when we have an information that the oil is about to resume in Ogoni land. The next item, oh, the University of Environment have been approved. in Ogoni land on that process. Oh, the east-west road must be completed. Those kind of logic. At my stage as Indigenous Youth President, we have approved that manipulation.
Well, there are a lot of groups that have been coming up with different demands from the federal government as to what it would take for them to be on the table and work in unity and in tandem with government's plans in resuming oil exploration in Ogoni land. How do we get all these splinter groups on the same table where they have one focus?